there were two parts of the budget, that is receipt and expenditure. I have already told you about the receipt part, and as it is, there are two components in both receipt and expenditure, which is the revenue and the capital. And you've already seen, as I said, of the receipt. Let me talk about the expenditure. Expenditure means the money that the government intends to spend on various activities in the country. And again, it will be subdivided into two, the revenue expenditure and the capital expenditure. When I talk of the revenue expenditure, it means the money which the government is spending on, say, short terms, and the capital will be on long terms. And here in the revenue expenditure, the heads are the interest that it gets, the salaries and the pensions of the people, the grants and the subsidies. But when I talk of the capital expenditure, it will be constructions of roads, railway bridges, overhead bridges and so on. Okay. Purchase of land and machinery, giving of loans. That means the expenditure is either done in the form of revenue expenditure or the capital expenditure. The basic difference between the revenue expenditure and the capital expenditure is that revenue expenditure neither creates assets nor liabilities, whereas capital expenditure creates assets and liabilities. That is, when we make roads, we are spending money, but we are also having a asset. Okay. But when the salaries and pensions are given, it is neither an asset nor a liability. This was the basic major difference between the revenue expenditure and the capital expenditure. But other differences which follow are that the revenue expenditure is generally done on the normal running of government offices and organizations, whereas the capital expenditure is done on buying capital asset. This is for, as I said, salaries and pensions, for just running an office. But capital asset could be buying a building for making the office. Now here no asset or liability is created, but here liabilities and assets follow. A revenue expenditure is a short period expenditure, whereas the capital expenditure is a long term expenditure. A revenue expenditure is recurring in nature, whereas a capital expenditure is non-recurring in nature. I'll have to keep on giving salaries and pensions to the people. It's recurring again and again, month after month. But if I buy a building to make an office, it is not recurring. It is a fixed asset. It will be there for some time. So, we have seen a budget, a good budget, and the two parts are the receipt and the expenditure. Two components are the revenue and the capital, both in form of the receipt and the expenditure. We have seen what a tax is. Tax is whatever the government levies on people to make its money. And this it has to do because if you see, if a government makes good roads, good buildings, or gives a metro service to a particular area, then what happens? The prices of the property of that area automatically rise. So, it becomes the duty of the citizens to repay the government in order to give a thanksgiving to the government, and this is given by the residents, which is called as a tax. There are various kind of taxes, as I discussed, direct and the indirect. And we have been talking about the revenue expenditure and the capital expenditure.